I've only used Crackle paste once before and I learnt a lot in the process. So today what I want to try and do is create a mud plane where I go from thick cracks and slowly blending to thinner cracks to create distance, and then put a sky in, and I might have a go at doing some clouds. Welcome to Fiona's Creative Canvas. Let's get started. So what I did last time, I used PVA glue underneath the Crackle paste, and that creates a thicker crack. So we're going to do that fairly thick at the bottom and blend that up as well. So the mud plane will be the main feature here, and I probably want my sky from about there up. So I'm just going to give myself a bit of an idea. The thicker cracks are probably going to finish about here, and then it's going to create a lot of distance. So let's get a brush and spread on this PVA glue. Make sure it's nice and thick at the bottom here. I think I want more. Let's start blending that out a little bit thinner as we go up. I'm probably going to blend my Crackle paste up to about here and leave that last bit. As you get further in the distance, you're hardly going to see those cracks. So let's let that dry. So this took a little longer than expected to dry. I've left it for 3 hours, and I've also used the hair dryer just to dry it out. It's pretty cold here today, so that's probably one of the reasons. I'm now, even though this is like a little bit tacky here, it could create some large cracks. So that happened last time, and I thought we'd see if it happens again in this area. So I'm going to add on my crackling paste. I was a bit worried about the way this was coming out last time because it looked very gloopy, but I know it works, so I'm not going to worry. Let's get a spatula and apply the paste. So thank you to those people who commented on my last video letting me know this is actually what it's supposed to look like. Some people suggested I give it a mix first, which I've done, and it doesn't really seem to change it. Right, so I want to take this up to about here, but I want to blend it at the top so that it's fine. And I want it thick at the bottom. Definitely want to get up a bit higher though. I'm going to get a bigger one. All right, going to get a damp paper towel and just clean up my edge. And hopefully it'll be thick cracking to sort of here, and then it'll start getting smaller and blending into the top. So I'm going to let that dry overnight, and we'll come back tomorrow. Alright, this is dried. I've got quite the big crack through here. That's been caused by the thick PVA glue. So I would probably suggest, if you don't want big cracks like this, to keep your PVA glue thin. But you can definitely see the difference between the PVA glue here and then it gets thinner, which is what I wanted to make it sort of look like distance. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just draw in my horizon line. I'm thinking I might bring it a little bit lower so that I can create a nice cloud effect in the top. And I've grabbed out some nice earthy tones for my mud and a little bit of purple. So I thought this painting might have a bit of a purple undertone. I've mixed up some of those colours here, and I've also added in some Payne's Grey. This colour is going to be for my cracks. So I've thinned it down quite a bit. See if it runs into those cracks. You know what? I'm going to spray it. I think that helps it to run into the cracks a bit more. Yeah, you can see it running into those cracks. Just going to use a brush to brush it on. Get it into those cracks. I might use this sponge just to get rid of some of these lines. Just mop it up a little bit. Don't want to get in that big crack though. Couple of mountains maybe. Very distant though. Alright. I think I'm going to let that layer dry because I want to apply sort of a dry brush effect over the top of the cracks. So this is drying, but I have noticed that the fine cracks here have not filled, and I'm getting some extra cracks over here. But what I thought I might do is use a bit of this nickel azo gold in the high flow acrylic. This will be quite thin. Let's see if we can fill in a bit of this. Going to mix in a bit of the dark colour as well, I think. Just got to get those cracks filled. The finer they are, the harder they are to fill. So I think the high flow and inks and things like that are probably a good way to fill those in. I'm wondering if I should fill in the sky, and I want to use just a bit of a, might lighten it a bit, something just to cover the canvas at the top. I like that bit of orange in there, which is actually not orange, it's burnt sienna, because it gives me that kind of sunset feel, which I do want to kind of create. Alright, I have had to go over this a couple of extra times because I keep getting these little cracks and whites showing through. So I've just been sort of filling those in as it dries. Now what I want to do is start layering up some lighter colours. So I'm going to mix some colours together. I want to kind of brush it on lightly. I thought about using a sponge. I've got two different sponges here. This is just a kitchen sponge, and then this is an art sponge that I bought online. I'm just going to get a little bit of this colour in. I think we'll get a bit more of that on. Because I do want to get this lighter and lighter as I go. I'm going to try out the natural sponge, and I had some suggestions, just going to dampen it a little bit, to press it harder so that I don't get it too dotty. So let's try that. I'll try it on the side first. I'm not sure if I'm very good at that. But I can rub it out. All right. Feel like I need a little bit of yellow back there. Just going to make slightly yellower colour. I'm not sure if that's light enough yet. It is definitely lighter. Is that too light? Alright. Not sure about that colour. I think I'm pretty happy with that. We might start with our sky. I feel like I'm going to have to do a background sky blend first. So I'm going to need some blue, King's blue, I might just put on here, and some phthalo blue, which is a bit brighter. And I think I'm going to need some more white. And I've got my purple. Get the purple on my brush first, I think. Wet my brush. Maybe a bit of water up there to help with the blending. I'm using a fair amount of water. Maybe a little bit of the yellow. I need to put in mountains. They should be nice and purple, even maybe a bit of blue in there. This blue needs to be a bit brighter. Cool, I like that. Okay, mountains. All right, let's try this brush first, I think. So it's a really weird color. Well, this is the color I'm using. I'm looking at reference images and right. Very, very far away. So the clouds are going to have, some of them are going to be light and some of them are going to be dark. All right, and now I think we've got the sun setting. Just a little bit of glow here. I'm going to use a similar colour to this, I think, in the back. And we're going to bring some oranges in. So I'm just like the light shining up underneath, and it's creating a bit of sort of a yellowy orange on the cloud. I'm getting a bit lighter now. Trying to bring a bit of that orange, which I think really helped actually. It's not orange, it's sienna. More wispy clouds at the back there. Alright, so I've come back to this today and I have decided I want to make a few little changes. I feel like I need a bit more lightness down here and I need some contrasting colours up the top. I thought I might just use some glazing medium just to add a little bit of colour just here. So I've grabbed a bit of Prussian phthalo blue and a bit of dioxazine purple, and I'm just going to see if I can make a bit of a glaze and just add that up the top here. Might just get to the wet brush just to blend that a bit. Just a slight tint, should hardly be noticeable. Ooh, until I do something like that. Alright. Okay, I like that. I need it lighter down here and more yellow. And I've grabbed a rag as well that I'm going to use for smudging some of these clouds. I feel like that needs a bit of orange in it. It's quite bright, that bit. I'm just going to smudge it a bit. A little bit of water on it maybe. Okay, here is bring in for a look at these cracks. They get finer as we go up, and then there's that cloudy background. Now I think that last little bit I did with the clouds, I could have blended a little bit better. I kind of liked it the way it was before, but I did want to bring a bit more lightness into the top. But yeah, still happy with it. I'm, new to doing clouds, so it's a good experience. So what do you think of that one, guys? Let me know what you think in the comments below. That's it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you all in the next one. Bye.